Hiya, this is Marla's Tarot, and today I'm going to do a twin flame reading, I think. We'll look at each person, see what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and their behaviours or actions towards the other. Okay. Where things are at just now and what could happen in the future, or the future of the connection, shall we say. Okay, so we'll call this person 1, person 2, usually feminine, masculine, or whichever side resonates most with you. Okay, so the first card we've got out, person 1, we've got the 9 of Pentacles here. In the thought space, you've got kind of monetary kind of stability-ish thoughts on your mind. You may have broken away from your twin flame at present and maybe finding that you're doing actually better by yourself. You may have found that this person, because when you think of them in your mental space, when you think of them, you're thinking in terms of you being like independent of self. So it may be that you broke away from someone and you actually see and acknowledge that they actually made you better off by leaving. You're actually in a better, more stable, secure place when they left. The person over here though, person 2, we have the 3 of Swords. So this person, when they think on person 1, they think in terms of heartbreak, hurt, pain, suffering. It may well be that person 1 was the runner in this case. Person 1 might have actually decided to be the runner in this case, because when person 2 is thinking on them, it's almost like they're consumed with hurt, but then they still feel this sentimental kind of feeling, thoughts towards them as well. There's almost like a sentimentality about that card. So they may well be in their head now thinking about them. So it may be one's consumed with thinking about them and stuck in a place of kind of in their head. When they think on the situation, they think on it in quite a hurt, they were hurt by the situation. It was quite a hurtful situation to them. Taught them a lot of mental lessons as well. But person 1 here just seems to be, you know, they've got the back to this. It's as if they've figured out that they're better off on their own, or they thought or figured out some way that they were better off on their own, and they've gone off to kind of find stability on their own. This could actually be a vice versa situation as well. It could well be that this person, when they think of you, is in a heartbreak because they chose to run, and in them choosing to run, this has made it like easier for you to realize, actually, I can do good all by myself. I don't need you. And this might be why when they think on you, they may be thinking that they broke their own heart because you are doing good by yourself. So in your feelings, in person 1's feelings, we have the Hermit, and your feelings are closed down. I think in regards to this situation, I think you've literally closed your feelings down. You may have withdrawn, removed yourself from a person, decided you're no longer going to be around a person, you're no longer going to deal with that kind of shit. So you may have just like literally withdrawn physically and mentally, because you're not in the mental space. You're more concerned about kind of money and monetary aspects, and or feeling grounded and secure, and you're facing away from this side when you're doing this. So it may well be that you've decided now that in order to feel this way, you've got to be away from this person. So you could have just, in your feelings, just closed off, just withdrawn, moved yourself away. And you may have done so to learn the lessons of it. So it may well be, if you were the chaser, you may well have just decided, I'm not doing this anymore. So you've come to a point where you've just shut it down and you're not bothered anymore. And this might be what's bringing them back to their headspace, having them thinking on the situation again, because they may have got used to you chasing and running after them and being all about them and it all being about them. So it may be now their head's a bit fucked up because they can't figure out why you're not chasing anymore, or why they don't have your attention in the way that they did before. But I think you're good. I think in your feelings you've withdrawn everything because you've been working through it. You've been working through things to see where you would be better off and how you would be better off, and realising actually in hindsight maybe this situation wasn't the best for me, because when it comes to twin flames you don't actually have to have them in your life. If they were grown enough to participate in some kind of connection with you where it would be fulfilling, then that would be, nice. But 9 out of 10, they're not. There's always one that's causing a problem, or one that's running who's not grown and got into the mentality of like kind of living the life in a peaceful way. It's almost like everything that, if something's a bit of a challenge for them, it's like they just run away from it. And this might be what they've done with you. But I feel like you've pulled your energy back. I get the impression that you've pulled your energy right back. I feel like you've withdrawn yourself and you no longer it's almost like you no longer allow yourself to think on it. It's like I feeling like you're no longer allowing yourself to think on it. In their feelings, they have a sword card. So in their feelings, they may be feeling like they want to communicate. They may be feeling now. So if they were initially the runner and you've kind of cut that off, they've meshed you about some way and it's just made you kind of shut down on them and not want anything to do with them. They may be wanting to communicate with you now. They may be thinking about ways and how they can come into you and communicate with you. But knowing that they would have to come with the truth. They may also see you in the feelings. They may also feel that you have become this Queen of Swords. You are no longer taking anybody's shit. So if they come to you, they have to come right, because if they don't come right, you're going to use this sword on them and you're not going to give two shits, because you've got yourself to a place where you're quite comfortable and stable by yourself and you don't really think about it anymore. So I think maybe you might welcome a conversation with them. You might, because the Queen of Swords wouldn't cut you off and not allow you to converse. She's one that will hear you out. So it's almost like you could be in a space where if they came to you, you would hear them out. But that doesn't mean you're going to allow, or you're going to fall for, should I say, what they're saying. So they may feel that you have gone cold on them. You've just gone really cold on them, and that they're not sure how to approach you anymore. In the actions, though, which is strange, we have the Two of Cups for person one. So in the actions towards, you may actually be considering or hoping or willing in some kind of connection still with this person. You may actually be willing it in, but it may be on like your terms this time, where you're not going to be the one that's going after them and they would have to come to you, correct? Because you've got yourself straight. Or this could be that you are no longer focused on this because you have something new. You've found somebody else. And this could be a soulmate. Somebody who's really good for you. Somebody who's perfect for you. Because we don't have to be with the twin flame. We can always move along and go on to somebody else and find somebody else and be perfectly, if not a lot more happier than what we would be if we were with someone that was our twin flame. If they're not ready to be in that kind of commitment or that kind of connection with you, then you don't have to wait around and never be with anybody else. So it may well be that if you're not already, you may be considering connecting with somebody else. There may be somebody else who's caught your attention. You may be too busy to be bothered with them. So it's almost like you're not putting the action in, you're not actually putting action into them. The actions that you're taking at the minute is that you're just having fun and you're getting on with your life, connecting with other people, somebody else. Now their actions, we've pulled the family card, the family legacy card. They may well have a family elsewhere, and they may have gone back to a family. Maybe they had a family in the past before you got together, and they've gone back there. They may have made their way back to that person, realised that it's not actually working out, and wanting to come towards you again, because there is this hurt and this heartbreak here when they think about you. But they may be playing the happy family, and it may well be like this could be that they're playing the happy family to rile you up, to try and get some kind of a reaction out of you. It's like when someone goes off, you know, when you think when you split up with people and you break up and you break a connection with someone, the person that has usually caused the problems, or the person that was usually the problem, is the first one to run off and get into a new connection with somebody else. And they do so it looks at, and to me it's as if they do this just to save face, not only to try and piss you off or upset you, but they also do it so they can turn around to everybody else and go like, look at me, I'm in a relationship, I'm good, you know, I wasn't the problem, it was clearly them. And I feel like that's kind of 95% of it. That's what people want and why people do it. So they may well be in another connection themselves, or may have gone back to a connection at the moment, or their family having some kind of influence on whether on what they offer you or how they offer it to you. But I feel more that kind of pull towards that they're playing happy families somewhere. They're playing happy families, but on their mind is this hurt and this heartbreak, and I feel like you are the one that they're thinking about. And I feel like whatever's going on with them is just for show. It's almost just for show. And it may well be that they're doing this and gone back to somebody or entertaining a connection like this because it may be easier. And by easier, I mean like more kind of stable, easier and stable in the way like it's not as challenging, it's more predictable. Almost like they're afraid of their own feelings, like if they're not that interested, or if it's not that emotional, or if it's not something that's that not something where their emotions are kind of driving a situation, then they can't get caught up and caught out and lost in the situation, so they can't actually end up being hurt in a situation. It's almost like a fear of being hurt. So they will stay somewhere that is more comfortable for them, even if it is just for show, and even if it is emotionless, even if they're not really getting fulfilled there. So at the moment, the connection between you, or any kind of thoughts or connection between you, is very heavy. I feel like with him walking in this direction, I almost feel like you're the one that finds this very heavy. I feel like maybe you were engaging with them, or maybe you gave a bit of a chase to them, and it all just got too much. It all just got too much, and you don't want to deal with it anymore. You don't want the stress. You don't want the weight of everything on your shoulders. It's almost like everything was on your shoulders. And I say this because in this card he's walking towards this way, so it's almost like you're just carrying the weight of everything. And they may have got comfortable just allowing you to carry the weight of everything. One of them, it could be one of them people who doesn't really do much for the connection or the relationship, but yet preaches that they're the one that kind of glues it together, and they're the one that does this. You know, making out as if they do grand gestures. If you have a bit of a like kind of narky type or something like that, where they do grand gestures and then they make out as if they do grand gestures. They don't even have to do the grand gestures. They may just make out like they do them. But in actuality, when you actually break it down and look at it, you're the one that's paying for them every time they go out. You're the one that's always taking them on days out, or you're the one that's always doing this, and you're the one that's always driving. You're the one that's always... So in reality, any little grand gesture that they do towards you is actually nothing in comparison to what you're doing towards them. And that is something that kind of weighs heavy, and it may well be that you just got sick of doing that. It was like very one-sided. Everything seems very one-sided, and I feel like this weight was just too much for you. This is, and I feel like that's coming from person one side. And with the future of any connection between you, we've got the World card, which is stepping into a new life, moving forward. So if you are connecting, to me, I feel like if you are connecting with somebody new, the new might be better. The new might be better than actually entertaining getting back with somebody who didn't put a lot of effort in. And I feel like they may have took kind of kudos for like, oh, look at me doing this and doing this and doing this all for you, but they actually in fact were doing nothing. May have been living in your house, eating your food, may have bought you shopping once or twice, and claim to be like the savior of all because they bought you shopping. I feel like it's that kind of energy. That's the kind of energy I'm feeling. I feel like if person one is entertaining somebody new, or considering or thinking about somebody new, or wanting just to move in a new direction, go for it. I feel like this is where, and this is something that will be good as well with the Two of Cups. It's something that will be mutual and good. So I feel like if you're thinking of moving in a new direction, do so, because with the World card here, I think the future's moving forward instead of moving back. I don't feel like, even though you can take one last glance at where you're at, or even if you want to meet up with them and kind of say your bits to each other and then kind of back away and leave it, then do that. But I feel like forward movement. Because if somebody is the kind of person, and I'm going to go with this because this is exactly how I'm feeling. If somebody's the kind of person where they would do something for show to try and hurt you, or to try and just to try and manipulate your emotions or your thoughts, or hurt you in some kind of way, if somebody's that kind of person, why do you want to bother with them anyway? I feel like move on. Go towards the new and enjoy your life. So what a pull. No, I'm not going to pull any oracles on this. I'll leave this one here because some of my neighbours are booting off out there, so I'm going to stop recording. Alright, so that's what I get. Thank you.